Hello there. Welcome to today's class. Today, you will be learning about active and passive verbs. And by the end of the class, you should be able to 1. Identify active and passive verbs. 2. List active and passive verbs. Make sentences with active and passive verbs. Have you heard of the term grammatical voice before? Well, if you haven't, you need to pay close attention to this lesson to learn what it is and how it relates to today's active and passive verbs lesson. You remember how important verbs are in English language, right? Well, verbs are important because they express what is being done. The process of how a verb indicates whether a person or something has been done to a person or thing is what is known as the voice in grammar. There are two kinds of voices in the English language, depending on the position and type of verb. The types are 1. Active voice, which comes as a result of an active verb, and 2. Passive voice, which comes as a result of a passive verb. Now, let's take a look at them in detail. 1. Active voice is when the verb in a sentence is active and shows that the subject of the sentence, which could be someone or something, has performed an action. For example, in this active voice sentence, Ngozi ate her food. You can see that the subject of the sentence, which is Ngozi, came before the verb ate in the sentence. Therefore, it can be said that the subject of the sentence performed an action. On the other hand, passive voice is when the verb in a sentence is passive and shows that the subject of the sentence, which could be someone or something, did not actively perform an action, but instead had an action performed to it. For example, in this passive voice sentence, the food was eaten by Ngozi. You can see the subject of the sentence, which is Ngozi, comes after the verb eaten. Therefore, it can be said that the subject of the sentence is having the action done to it. Don't you think it's an interesting switch in roles? Do you now understand how a voice can be said to be active or passive? All right then, let's look at some sentences to ensure you truly understand. Sentence 1. The letter was written by Umar. What voice is that sentence? Did you say passive voice? You are correct. It is a passive voice sentence because the subject of the sentence, which is Umar, comes after the verb in the sentence. Let's try another one. Ayo swept the floor. What voice is that sentence? Did you say active voice? You are correct. It is an active voice sentence because the subject of the sentence, which is Ayo, comes before the verb in the sentence. Sentence 3. The rabbit took the carrot. What voice is that sentence? Aha! Did you say active voice? Excellent! It is an active voice sentence because the subject of the sentence, which is the rabbit, comes before the verb in the sentence. One more. Sentence 4. The dress was designed by Ada. What voice is that sentence? Did you say passive voice? If you did, you were correct. It is a passive voice sentence because the subject of the sentence, which is Ada, comes after the verb in the sentence. Keep in mind that to easily recognize if it is an active or passive voice, check the position of the subject and the verb of the sentence. The subject coming before the verb means an active verb, therefore the voice would be active. Meanwhile, the subject coming after the verb means a passive verb, therefore the voice would be passive. Well done! You have learned what active and passive verbs and voices are, how to identify them, and how to make sentences with them. I hope you had fun learning. See you in the next lesson.